Good evening, guys. This is Donald again. It is late Saturday or early Sunday. The title page of my video will show it's March 21st because I'm going to talk about how my Saturday was. So hope everybody's well. Depending on what part of the country you're in, you may or may not be in a shelter-in-place or lockdown. But for us in California, especially the Bay Area, was day 6, I think. And then for the rest of California, like LA and Southern California, who the governor introduced it, it may be like day 2 or something. So hope everybody's well, regardless of the part of the country you're in. Things are kind of a little bit crazy, but I hope you're well. Purpose today, talk about my day, my Saturday, and then have a topic that came to mind, which was some doom and gloom stuff that kind of crossed through my head today. So my day went relatively well. The first and foremost thing for me was I actually got my unemployment taken care of. I've mentioned a few times I was laid off officially back in early February, and I could have filed for unemployment a lot earlier, but I was interviewing at the time with a couple of things I thought maybe had a chance to come through, thought maybe I can wait on it, and I did, and of course the interviews didn't really go anywhere, which is okay. And I was like, okay, let me take care of that unemployment. Unfortunately, I did it like early last week, I think Monday or Tuesday, right before the lockdown or shelter in place in California occurred. So obviously with now everything being shut down, there's a lot more people applying for unemployment. So I may have kind of snuck in pretty early because I'm sure it's going to be pretty busy for those unemployment folks to deal with stuff. The lady, I had submitted it online. For those who haven't done it yet or whatever, maybe those will be helpful. I submitted the claim online. I got some of the letters a couple of days ago saying, hey, everything looks good, but we have a couple of questions, so we want to talk to you, which would have been today on Saturday. The original time was between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., but the lady actually ended up calling earlier at 11:30, which is fine. I talked to her and we took care of business. And in fact, I already yesterday got a bunch of other paperwork stuff that I need to fill out for unemployment. So once everything's squared away, at least I'm done with the application that's been approved. Now I just have to do the other process, which is, are you looking for work? Filling out if you made money, which I'm definitely not, and then you start getting the unemployment money, which is good. If you guys are going through this particular process, let me know if you have any questions, because I've done this. This will be my 4th time that I've been laid off in the past 12 years or so. So definitely have a lot of experience. So let me know if you need anything. The rest of my day was pretty low-key. Didn't really talk to anyone. I texted a few people. A couple of my old coworkers, I ended up sending, they recorded a video, sent it to me by text, and I recorded a video, sent it back to them just because it was easier for them. So that was cool. Otherwise, I mostly read a couple of books and also some comic books, both the physical and some online versions of some comics. So pretty light day. Also read some, I played some video games, Madden on my Xbox. Didn't go well. I suck at playing Madden against the computer. I don't know how people do it. I know people may play each other online and whatnot, so I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe it's a little fair. We play like another human. Playing computer is awfully difficult. I prefer basketball a lot more, but, I like football as a game too, so, at least I tried something different. I also got my standard workout in. I walked a couple of times a day, not a whole lot, maybe about 20-25 minutes total. Used my Nintendo Wii also for a little bit of a workout, just kind of playing playing baseball or pretending to swing a bat. Did a light workout with the Wii, which was fine. Gives me some supplemental exercise, and I may start using the Wii and or the Switch as additional workouts as well. As the weeks go on here. And then of course I'm recording this today, the podcast, and the main reason why I wanted to record this podcast is my next topic, which is doom and gloom. It sounds kind of eerie, but it's not. Hopefully you find it a little bit more optimistic, I hope. But I think it relates back to this shelter-in-place thing that we are at least in the California and some other states, are stuck in, and maybe it may go around to the other parts of the United States, and definitely in Spain and Italy. From a San Francisco Bay Area standpoint, being sheltered in place has been fine. I've been unemployed for a while, so I'm used to being home. Obviously I had stuff to do while I was unemployed, so that was fun. Not being able to do any of that now is definitely no fun. But I was managing, and I didn't really think a whole lot about it. I got my food, I got stuff at home, so I was like, I'm prepared for it. I'm okay with the situation as it is. However, for whatever reason today, I was on Facebook reading different articles about this whole situation. A couple of things came to mind. One was an article about I think it was a nurse that was working with patients at, hospitals, facilities, whatever it may be. And she commented that how shocking it was to her to see someone who was somewhat young, somewhat healthy, and how things can kind of go downhill so quick with this particular virus or illness, whatever you want to call it. So that was one thing. The other thing that I came across was an article in, I think, USA Today. I can't remember. It might have been a doctor or physicist or somebody who mentioned that they had been kind of anticipating some of these kind of large-scale viruses coming around. And he says, we're not very prepared for it. He says, really, for us, I can't remember if he was talking about the whole world or at least for the United States. He thought that we should be fully locked down, not sheltered in place, for 5 weeks. 5 full weeks. It's a lot of time. He says, none of this, hey, stay home if you can, but if you want to go exercise, go out, go buy your food, all of that. The guy suggested fully, hey, lock down, stay home, don't go out. If you need groceries, fine, go, but don't go too often. No exercise, whatever. And again, this goes back to the thing about flattening the curve of why us Californians and other states are in this shelter in place, because we're trying to flatten that curve, but there's still a lot of exceptions. So I'm not going to bore everybody with all the minutia about like the illness or this recommendation, but I think my point is, for the first time, and again, I was thinking about it, I felt a little doom and gloom. I don't think it was necessarily the articles themselves or whatnot. I thought I was just a little bit mentally tired, maybe a little sleepy, maybe not hydrated, so not thinking clearly enough. And I'm like, because I went through a lot of the what ifs in my head. I was like, oh God, what if I get the virus? What if we have to be locked down for 5 weeks? What if everything goes well and I still don't have a job in a few months? Heck, even before the unemployment got done, I was like, what if I get rejected for unemployment? So, and my point is, if you start getting into this what ifs, your mind goes crazy, man. I've been through it, been there, done that. It's definitely not fun. So, and like I said earlier, I've been pretty optimistic. I just been going through this shelter in place without really thinking too much, just kind of going with the moment, not thinking too far ahead about all the what ifs. But I went through it a little bit today. I'm feeling better now as I record this. There's one reason why I want to record this, just to get it out of my head too, but I felt better. But as I thought about this, I'm like, you know what? There must be other people who may be feeling this doom and gloom. If you're one of them, raise your hand. Put in my comments on Facebook or the YouTube channel. Let me know. Let me know what you think. It's fine. Just good to share. But the main point for me to do this video or podcast is to say, hey, what can we do about this doom and gloom? If you have it, how do you get out of it? and hopefully, get out of it before it spirals down to a very serious, like you're worried about it so much that your mind is kind of just locked up. Been there and done that with worrying. First and foremost, I would say, in terms of just avoiding the doom and gloom, is try to minimize your time reading, watching the news, or being on social media. That advice generally applies even during these kind of regular days when life is good. But when life is kind of in a very tough state, as it is for everybody right now, it's even better to just get off social media if you can. Use it if you need to talk to friends, but avoid reading all the posts. Avoid watching the news. I don't watch the news that much. I'll turn it on, if I hear something or I haven't seen it in a few days, or someone tells me something's interesting going on. So, that would be my first thought for you. Just get off of it, and that will kind of keep you in a better state of mind. The second thing is to talk to someone. Now, I'm not proposing you go talk to a therapist. That's a pretty personal choice. Costs money. I have friends who are therapists. I've actually seen therapists before. But if you feel you need a professional, go ahead and go for it. I'm sure people, even these days, they can do it remotely, do a web chat or whatever. But for me, I'm suggesting, hey, go talk to a trusted friend, family member, whatever suits your boat. In this time when we're, for the most part, not socializing in person and we're mostly at home, we may end up texting folks a lot and whatnot, which is fine if you want to do that. But sometimes having a actual conversation really helps. That's why it's been great that my friend and I, one of my good friends, have been talking pretty much all week this week. But, you're not always going to have friends that are like that. We had another guy friend today suggest to our group chat for guys to maybe do a WebEx or Zoom type meeting just to see a different face. And I'm like, hey, if you guys want to do it, great. The group didn't really want to do it, or they didn't state it, which is okay. But I may push for it anyway, just to say, hey, be good to see some of your faces, and let's talk about how things, what people are doing. I actually signed up for a Zoom account. It's free as well. Zoom.com, ZOOM.com has a free basic service, which you can sign up and host up to 100 people for a meeting. And the free account lets you host the meeting for like 40 minutes. It's not a lot of time, but hey, if you only got a few people, it's fine. 30 to 40 minutes is enough time to catch up with folks. I signed up for one just in case other people I know want to do it. Feel free to do it for you as well. You don't have to go that crazy with like Zoom. If you don't want, you can always FaceTime people if you're an iPhone user. I don't know about Android. I forget if the FaceTime can do like multiple screens at once. That's why doing like a WebEx or Zoom is helpful. But again, depends on really what you want to do. The main thing is, from a talking perspective, is, especially when you're not during this doom and gloom phase, is, get the feelings out and you'll feel better. It's not good to hold everything inside. So if you get it out, you'll probably feel better. And that's really what I hope for everyone to do in this kind of crazy time. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, I've always offered, let me know. I'll talk to you, whether it's on the phone, do a Zoom thing or whatever. Also, I forgot the Zoom thing. If you're using an iPad or a smartphone, they have an app so you can use the camera and the internet audio to see yourself. If you use a computer, you can log on to a computer. I think the computer can download the needed software automatically and use your webcam if you have one on your computer. So if you want to use your computer to talk, that's one of the advantages of using Zoom versus like using your iPhone. And then lastly, there is a reason why I do this podcast. Hey, part of this podcast is to help me communicate, get things off my shoulder to kind of de-stress as well. And I'll mention that, I mentioned therapists earlier, hey, mental health is not just our physical health. Mental health in this time is very, very important. Can't emphasize it enough. I'm not a therapist. I know friends who are, but haven't been through some tough times before. I know you have to keep your mental health well. Physically, being good is fine, but if mentally you're not quite there, good to get some help. Talking usually enough, but if there's some serious stuff, get some professional help. Just throwing it out there. But that's part of the reason why I do this podcast, is to help myself as well. But hopefully people will find it useful where if they're in a tough situation, hey, go share your feelings. And hopefully you have a trusted friend who will understand and won't judge. And that's really the main thing. So that's about it. I wanted to get this done. It's late, but it's okay. I like sharing. So I hope everyone's well. I hope it's, for us in San Francisco Bay, it'll be like, I think, day 7, if I want to save our shelter in place. So, it's going to be interesting. We'll see how things go. But I hope everybody's well. Let me know how you're doing. Feel free to send me a message if you want, and let me know what's going on. But have a great Sunday. Stay safe. Stay sheltered in place. I've been trying to avoid people as much as I can. I know a lot of people have been out there. There's the extremes of like Florida going partying, and then there's people walking on hiking trails. I just want to avoid that. So that's just me personally. But whatever you do it safely, and I hope and keep your health going as much as you can. All right, have a great one, and I'll see you next time with my next podcast, whenever that may be. Take care now, and have a good night.